Okay, now I got to remember to not to dance, but to talk. We're here to introduce the Comprehensive School Safety Assessment Suite. This is a joint collaborative effort of the Global Alliance for Disaster Risk Reduction and Resilience in the Education Sector, and many members thereof: UNESCO, University of Udine, Sprint Lab, Save the Children, UNISDR, RiskRed. And we're going to tell you about the development of a suite of tools to monitor and to develop capacity and planning for school safety. We were presented with this dilemma. We've been working on it, I would say, for about 10 years. When UNISDR said to us collectively, when we were the thematic platform for knowledge and education, well, how are you going to measure school safety? Of course, we know that our outcome measures are about reducing deaths and injuries, reducing school days lost, but we don't actually get the opportunity to measure those except between the major disaster. In the meantime, we're quite aware that we've got extensive and hidden disasters, hazard impacts going on, and so we basically slowly broke this down. We broke it down, but stayed faithful to the 3 pillars of comprehensive school safety. As you know, our goals are student and staff protection, safeguarding educational investments, assuring educational continuity, and building a culture of safety. At the heart of the comprehensive school safety framework is what we think is the child-centered multi-hazard assessment, risk assessment. But this is kind of an ongoing process, and this lives at both the school level, the subnational level, and the national levels. And it concerns, of course, safer school facilities, school disaster management, and risk reduction and resilience education. So you're going to hear now about how those 3 pillars are addressed in different ways with different assessment tools. Okay, the 3 tools you're going to hear about are the Comprehensive School Safety First Step. That's our crowdsourced app, telephone-based app for students and community members. Then you're going to hear about the School Safety Self-Assessment tablet-based app and portal, which is really for the school-based management folks to use independently. It's non-technical. And the third one is the VISUS, CSS-trained Surveyor assessment, which addresses Pillar 1 in particular in a very special way. So here are the details.
I need another arm.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Suhail again. I'm with RiskRed, and my responsibility is to develop and deploy digital tools for school safe assessment in line with the comprehensive school safety framework that's been adopted by the UN and members of GADRRRES, Global Alliance for Disaster Risk Reduction and Resilience in the education sector. I'll take a few minutes to introduce a very simple, but we hope quite an effective tool, which is called First Step. First Step is a smartphone application, a crowdsourced smartphone application targeting students, teachers, school staff, members of the community who are interested in school safety. And it takes approximately 10 minutes to fill this survey. The objective is to raise awareness of school safety and for polling participants' perception of school safety. The beauty of it, in my judgment, is that at the end of the 10 minutes, what happens is that the person who's using the tool immediately gets, that's fine, immediately gets, thank you. It's just 4 and 5 screens that they fill, 12 questions. They also have the opportunity to click on a map and identify the location of a map. It's not already showing on the map. As you know, these smartphones are location aware. So if we have the information about the existing schools, they can choose it from the list, or they can identify where that school is, give it a name. So this is also an opportunity for us to collect information about schools that are not in the national registry. And then answer a series of questions, and the most recent version of it actually allows one to be able to take photographs and, so to speak, give more information about some of the responses that the student gives. The beauty of it is that at the very end of this exercise, once the information is uploaded to the server, this is an online tool, we provide immediate feedback to the user. Close the loop and make them actually engage in an ongoing dialogue, so to speak, especially if they have identified themselves through an email or preferably through their social networking call. Because then, with their permission, we could actually acknowledge them participating in the school safety processes by taking part in this simple survey. All this information goes to a portal, and the sponsor of the project, which would have his or her or the corporate logo on the application, would have access to that information for follow-up. I'll hand it over to my colleague here.
So the second tool in the CSS assessment suite is for school staff. And this is addressing a particular problem. In many countries, ministries of education do not know what schools are able to do, where the safety problems are at the school, what buildings are unsafe, what school disaster management processes are in place, and what kind of DRR education is in place. However, a Ministry of Education sending out surveyors to each school is an enormous, overwhelming task. This simplifies it. This is a tablet-based or a phone-based survey that ministries of education can work with their field staff and have school administrators or district officers go to the school and complete the survey. The survey is multilingual, go on, and through the survey, the school staff answers questions about what kind of hazards they are experiencing at their schools. They also answer questions about what kind of school structures they have, including what kind of building materials they have. And many school principals may not know very much about construction. So the app asks them to take photos, and it says, oh, you're telling us that your wall type is brick. Will you take a photo of that? So that back at the Ministry of Education, they can verify that that's a correct answer. It also then asks them about their school disaster management processes, their drilling, and then asks them about their DRR education. What kind of curricular elements are in there? And again, it asks for photos. Do you use posters to explain hazards to your students? Great, take a photo of it so that we can see it. All of that information then feeds back to a school safety self-assessment portal that the administrator has access to. This is usually the Ministry of Education. And by logging into that, the school administration or the Ministry of Education can see a map where all the schools that are reporting data are coming in. They can additionally click on schools and start to get information, including a series of reports. Now, what's really wonderful about this tool is these reports do two things. Firstly, they go back to the schools and they say, hey, look, here's what you reported, but more than just saying, here's what you reported, it gives them cues as to what to do next. If, for instance, they report, we have no students with disabilities in our school, the portal flags that, and in their report it says, we see that you have no students with disabilities. That's kind of unbelievable. You need to do some outreach because there are probably students with disabilities in your community that need to be brought into school. If, for instance, they report on school buildings and those buildings are highly susceptible to the hazards they've reported on, they may get a message that says, we need you to go talk to the fire department because we're worried about your fire risk, or we're concerned about the structural safety. And if that piece is flagged, the school with the structural issues is flagged for the Ministry of Education for deep, very technical assessment, which Jair is going to explain.
Thank you, Rebecca. Okay, I'm going to talk about the VISUS methodology that actually what it tries to do is to support decision-making process at the Ministry of Education level. So what we try to do with this VISUS method, the first is to create the capacities at the national level in order to support the Ministry of Education to have information on what are the vulnerabilities of the schools. How we do that? The first thing that we do is we adapt the methodology, adapt and adopt it to the real needs of the country. We cannot start checking for tsunami risk in countries like Bolivia or Laos. So we adapt the method to the different hazards that we're going to have in that country, and also to the different kind of typologies that we're going to find. So if it's normal, mud or adobe constructions or reinforced concrete, so we adapt the methodology to this kind of typology that we're going to find there. Then what we try to do is we try to train, to develop different trainings that are focalized on different targets. The first one being the people, the decision makers, in order for them to know how to understand and read the information that we're going to provide them. The second one is for training of trainers, because our idea is that as continuous assessment need to be developed in the countries, we need to reinforce the capacities that already those countries have. So what we try to do is we partner with with academic institutions, with universities, with institutes that are taking the lead in the country in order to train a capacity of people that can train other people on how to assess the different schools. And the third training is focused to the surveyors. So actually we use technical people from the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Public Works, but also last year students of architecture or civil engineer of the whole country, so we can use the capacities that are already existing in the countries. And then what we do, we go to the selected schools, we go and check, we check 5 elements. We check the site, so we try to see what are the environmental risks concerning to the location of the school. We check the structural elements of the schools in a 2 kind of ways, like how the school has been built, but also if the school have some particular problems. We check the non-structural elements that are causing a lot of problems nowadays, and we check the functionality of the building itself. So what are the opportunities to access for the emergency service and to egress in the case of, or evacuate in the case of an emergency. This evaluation is done in a multi-hazard perspective. So we try to evaluate what we call the 4 elements plus 1. So everything that is related to water, so for floods, for tsunamis, everything that is related to earth, landslides, earthquakes, everything related to wind, so hurricanes, storms, and everything that is related to fire, because there are many problems on fires on the school. And the plus 1 is concerning maintenance, the day-to-day problems that you will find in the school in a holistic way. The method has been already tested in 6 countries, starting from Italy, Laos, Indonesia, Peru, Haiti, and El Salvador. Now we're going to apply it in Mozambique for the first time in Africa, and on 6 more countries of the Caribbean. Now I'm going to pass my word to Marla to finish.
So where we think this is really a paradigm shift is that whenever we've done this kind of assessment, school-based assessment in the past, it's been very extractive. All of these tools return automated reports that can be used at the school level and at the subnational and national levels. The portals can be inquired of so that more information can be gleaned for planning and decision making. Where do we think this is going next? The next steps we think will be a tool for post-disaster damage and needs assessment, and then some more ad hoc tools that can be used for rapid querying. So we look forward to partnering with you and taking this to a new level. Thank you. We have examples of the school reports and summaries of the tools up here for those of you who'd like them. Thank you.